Last day.
Early morning close-up filming. Yeah, last day.
Wake up super early.
It's getting later. 5:30. Yeah, just in time to go home and try flip it the other way.
I slept in the other bed last night. Treated myself.
Better, worse?
Better.
I'm really not good at it, but I'm going to try and just be quiet today.
Yeah.
And not butt it.
I mean, if there's anything that you feel like I missed, feel free to.
Well, no, the thing to remember, like, you're probably going ahead, I'm trying to say all this, no one is going to know if you've missed anything.
Yeah. How did you, after Mendy did that bet yesterday, what was the first thing you opened the room to? You asked someone something?
I went straight to that guy who had just raised.
Barani. There's a guy who's on his like third business and had
Right.
the previous two exited.
Yeah, so you could always go to him and say, you've done this a couple of times now, what have you done differently each time? Something like that.
Hey, we up, man.
How are you?
How's it going? You well?
I'm well, yeah.
We're on our last day of our trip.
There you go.
Head home today.
Not you though, right?
Yeah, I'm staying for a few days. Just wanted to say a quick thank you for all coming this morning. Really good to kind of welcome you in with celebrate our New York launch. It's great to meet some really interesting founders and obviously Steve as well, appreciate you coming. The purpose of the session today was really around kind of fundraising, investment, that whole topic, because we know it's such an important part of that sort of high growth business journey.
You know, from raising money, I think everybody here knows it's a full-time job. The biggest challenge is, right, you want to execute your business at the same time as raising money. Folks love to give, you know, sort of one-size-fits-all answers to fundraising, and they don't exist.
Vlad, I'd love to hear from you, as you know, obviously you've had a couple of businesses previously and obviously successful one.
I definitely agree with the point that there's no cookie cutter fundraise. Because I've had two successes previously, fundraising comes a lot easier, but it's still not easy. You know, you cut through some bullshit, but you don't cut through all of it. And I think that's no matter who you are, unless you had like a multi-billion-dollar exit, fundraising is gonna be tough.
You've been there, you've done it, you know how you converted a few investors at one point. So you know how the process feels like. It's not new or unexpected, because I feel like, especially when advising some of those new founders, they have a complete different expectations. They think like they take a couple of meetings, do an exciting pitch that has been polished by an accelerator, and then they just put out the term sheets. But they very quickly see that it is not how it works. Really, they say like, if an investor says no, try to understand, you know, what this hesitation is and make note of them, and then tell them, hey, if we solve each one of them and then come back to you, will you invest then? And if they say yes, you got the soft commitment.
Yes.
Look, some angels just put money in, you never hear from them.
That's right.
Right? They just, you know, they're quiet, and you know the only time you might hear from them is when you do a shareholder update, right? They may then shoot, you know, otherwise, you know, they just sort of disappear into the woodwork.
I love those.
The best kind, right?
Yeah.
You know, but where VCs, it's very rare that happens, right? You know, VCs, obviously they're reporting back to their LPs.
For the record, we love all of our investors. you hear a lot of things about nightmare investors. We have been truly blessed. Fundraising in Florida is completely different than New York or San Francisco, right? It's, you know, I mean, at the time, we didn't have the money to go anywhere else. We've always tried to find some value in every one of our investors, right? Because you never know when there's a time you need an introduction or just some guidance.
When you're raising money, you know, communicating that passion is a really great thing, but also just fitting into what investors are looking for. And you know, so now we actually were super lucky with Alloy to have basically been funded prior to having a business plan, which is a double-edged sword in a way, because we started out with like $2 million to basically figure it out, and we went through that $2 million and we did figure it out, but then we needed money to actually get started.
Let's do a time lapse back to the office.
You think you'll be back in New York then?
Oh, 100%. I love it here. This is my hometown. Next time we come, I'm gonna...
Remember your attitude on the first day, how much you hated it? Due to your airport experience and whatever else?
I was wrong.
Yeah, we need to figure out how often we're going to be back here. We need to think ahead as well, because we need to hire people on the ground here too. So when we want to do that. So if we're going to want people on the ground here from January, probably need to start looking at it in September. The ground here. I think it's just important to be close to your customer, to have like someone here that can run out and meet founders at the last minute.
Yeah, I think it was good. I think your intro was good. Then we could have leaned on Steve quite a bit more. To the point where I don't know if he was even really like finished talking, to be honest, before we cut him off and moved on. Particularly he wanted to talk around the corporate VC bit, which we went down on, so then we could have pushed him a bit more, but really good that you went back to him at the end. Really good that you literally had everyone talk, didn't you? But no, I think we did good, man. I think it was really good.
Thank you.
Really just out the way.
Yeah, feel exhausted. You get that? Yeah. Just like can't switch off for a second, because I'm always like thinking about what I'm gonna say, like how I'm gonna do
What's the next thing if it goes quiet? The other thing is just with some of the questions, I think need to be maybe a little more open-ended to get them to talk a bit more, because sometimes there's very much like, did you find this?
Yeah.
And they didn't give you a one-word answer, but their answer was effectively yes.
Yeah.
But in more words.
Text me from your WhatsApp. Your guest is here.
Oh, yes.
So when they come, I could just shoot you a text and they come down.
Do Good Food's whole focus is that we're actually fighting food waste and combating climate change. We're picking up surplus grocery food from supermarkets that would have previously gone to landfill, upcycling that into a nutriently consistent dried animal feed, and then creating a completely closed loop system by using that feed right into growing the next groups of animals. And we actually now have the first USDA approved and verified carbon equation. It's difficult when you're trying to really change the world, and sometimes the actors aren't necessarily always in your favor. It's like you just got to kind of bulldog it through and just say, you know what, we can and we need to do this, and be a little bit more bold. I curse a lot. I curse a lot in front of every major CEO I've ever been in. It's like, great, do you have kids? Great, they're all screwed in the next 20, 30 years. And make it personal, and make it passionate, and make it understandable that this is the reality of where we are, and everyone sees it, everyone recognizes it.
Can you sum up just the success you've had since launching?
Yeah, a whole lot of 5 years of hard work and dedication and blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of anxiety. Part of the reason we are able to launch at such a large scale, which we are launching with 5 of the 6 largest retailers, the largest food service companies in the country, many of the major corporations, the college universities, and the restaurants. Why? We have been for the past 5 years trying to figure this whole thing out. And we started off with a Vitamix, I mean literally. And now we're in a $170 million production facility that's able to upcycle 160 tons, 300,000 pounds a day. Is capable of going through my production facility and creating that dried feed.
Did it make you feel better and that you felt really prepped for launch day?
As an entrepreneur, even on launch day, even on successful days, you have the best day of your life and the worst day of your life, and it's the same day.
I was the founder of Call9, a telemedicine company. Now I'm the founder of Curve Health, another telemedicine company that's used the technology from Call9 to be able to treat patients in nursing homes.
Describe just the first couple of weeks of closing it down from a human element.
So we had already had to do a big reduction in force as we were preparing for this, as we saw that the bill wasn't going to go through and anytime soon, the rules weren't going to change. And so that was really hard. I made no promises that this would work as a leader. In fact, we were doing something so different, It's high risk. It's a startup that's high risk. Even so, people gave themselves to the mission. And then all of a sudden they were asked on that first reduction in force and then at the day that we closed that they wouldn't have, not just the job, but they wouldn't have this mission to continue that they put so much of themselves into. Yeah, had to stand up in front of the company and deliver that message. We had 220 people at the height of it, probably about 120 or so at the time when we closed. And that was hard.
Just give us an idea, what are the highs and lows like of founder life?
It's lonely at times, very lonely at times. I try to lead through vulnerability. It's a big belief of mine that to have a high-performing team members need to be able to tell one another what they think immediately without kind of sugarcoating it, without going around, so that we can move fast and we can learn fast.
Goodbyes.
Come on.
I'm not doing goodbyes. Give us a bump. I'm out of here.
Give us a bump. Bye.
Goodbye this week.
Get home safe.
I'll give you a shout next week and we'll go through the content.
Cool.
Get it out there.